Hi and welcome to my first attempt at restoring a GT550 triple two-stroke motorcycle, as in the Suzuki. Now I've had these bits and pieces here, which is basically a complete bike, for a good couple of years now, and basically what I'm going to do is keep a little record for myself, just to see what it costs in the real world to try and get things tidied up and get a bike completely up and going again. They're getting a little harder to find, these bikes. I did have a 380 which I restored and sold off a number of years ago, and unfortunately I probably shouldn't have done that. They seem to be a very popular model to try and get. However, this I think should be even better, is what I'm hoping for. It's got the electric starter as well as a kickstart on this guy, and that is something the 380 didn't have, which was an issue for my wife and myself, and that's why we sold it on. Now I'm keen to kick a bike over, there's no problems there, but it was actually the first bike for my wife, and they can be a little cantankerous, regardless, being a two-stroke, and it can make it a little difficult for a first-time rider. Besides that, they do make a healthy dose of power, which, although quite smooth and not as potent as the Kawasaki equivalents, can be a little bit catastrophic. So this basically is a bike I got as pretty much a basket case a couple of years ago. Needs rechroming, all the basic things. Front and rear mudguard assemblies, tail light mount, which is chrome plated, is a bit ordinary. So too is a chain guard, forks, which you can see complete removal of the chrome hard casing, pretty much where the headlight mounts go on. Now the exhausts do look a bit ordinary here, but they are going to have to be just cleaned up at this stage, because not many chrome platers or electroplaters that like to touch exhausts that have already been used in the way of two-stroke exhaust, because of the capacity for them to foul up their electroplating electrolyte bath. So they'll get cleaned up. They actually will tidy up. There's only one small repair on one pipe on a header, which you can just see there, and that will most likely, I'll probably actually be able to grind that right down into a thin plate similar to the header pipe wall thickness, and polish it up. And they do tend to hold their polish quite well, but of course there's also the baffles that need to come out of them and be cleaned, and it'll be interesting to find what I've got hiding away in there. The carbies on this particular model, it's a later model, I guess in the scheme of things. I think it's about a 76. They've got an actual bracket which mounts all three carbies together. Now that tidies up really well. I know it can polish up very nice with the alloy, but there are parts here that can be a little problematic when you look at disassembling the carbies to tidy them up and clean them out, which it will need, obviously. They are free, they do move without a problem. The linkage does work, and all the valves actually lift up and down quite well. But these guys actually have rubber seals, which for the life of me I can't remember what they're called now, which sit over the top here like a bellow type seal, and they've obviously completely disappeared over time, broken down, and so too these seals aren't too far off it as well. So they're a little exy at times to get, but I see them on eBay, so I will try and see if I can replace them in the process. And the rocker shaft, they call this here, I think, or linkage shaft, I should say, is in need of a chrome coating as well. So I do know that when you attempt to take the linkages off here, where they pinch on for each of the carbies, they do tend to snap. So that will be interesting when I get around to them. So as horrific as that looks, that's actually quite a good unit. Thanks a lot to the two-stroke oil that was in there, even though there's a separate two-stroke tank on these guys, and they've got their own crankcase injection system. It looks as though oil has been run, or petrol oil has been run through the carbs, so it's good in one respect. So this is basically something that I'm just going to put together as time progresses, and unfortunately it will be slow, but hopefully people will get a good look at the bike as I go. It's mostly because I've mostly done this, because the gentleman that sold me the bike held onto it for quite a lot of years in the hope to get it restored or have it restored, and eventually I think it had to go for various reasons, and he basically is pretty keen to see something happen to it. I did promise him I would start getting into it. I did have a lot of other projects to do first, so it's just one of those things. Any enthusiast, mechanical wise, whether it be cars or motorbikes, know the feeling. If you don't have spare time, things don't get done. But these guys are worthwhile holding on to if you can, and restoring there at that stage where it'd be fantastic to do so. Now, it was in near running condition when I got it. When the other gentleman had it. Apparently there was just a light seizure of one cylinder. But upon inspection, and what I've found is, well, probably a little bit of dodginess that would have been carried out on the bike before he had purchased it. This is a little bit of canvas here. It was used as a cylinder base gasket, and on that cylinder, as you can see, on that cylinder there was a bit of piston scuffing and slight seizure, and probably put that down to the fact that the oil injection here may not have quite made its way through this homemade gasket to where it should have, and to top matters off, even though the engine was stored in a shed for quite some time, it did have moisture in the crank. So basically what we're looking at here, I know it's not a really good practice to disassemble an engine while it's still got a lot of rubbish on it like that, but it'll get a good hydroblasting and everything will be stripped out of it. What I've found is a very watery oil mixture in the bottom of the crank here, which is, you can see it coming up there. That's the way it's been, I'd say, for quite some time, and although it being bathed in that doesn't seem to have done too much harm to the big ends, I know for a fact it has pitted, just the moisture content has pitted the little ends of the conrods, which renders them hopeless at high revs. So rather than have it self-destruct, I've bought myself 3 new conrods, and I'm in the process of getting the bearings and pins, so I can rebuild the crankshaft as well as the main bearings and seals, which means that the engine will obviously have to be split. So that is my first stage. I should have showed you probably the original tank off of it. It's in fair condition. Not fantastic, but it'll paint up nicely. And although a lot of people are going to be thinking it would be nice to get it back to its original colour, it probably won't be. I'm a big fan of prettying up bikes with colours I like, which might not appeal to everybody. But the colour choice I have for this is at this stage is 2 tones of a metallic type red and orange shades or tones, of colour, which at some stage in the future I'll crack open the cans and show you, or when I'm doing the paint on the tanks, you'll get to have a look at that. But yeah, all the parts are here. There's we got 3 of these boxes, so you can see here: airbox, indicators, side covers, cush drive, shock absorbers, braking system, everything's there. All the wiring's in this box here, and then there's a third box carrying some more parts, which are spares, oil pumps and so forth. So plenty to do, obviously. It's a complete rebuild, to be honest. So when I'm inside, I'll probably find the starter motor needs a bit of work. They tend to get a little sad in their clutch starter mechanism. By this model it should have been fixed, I think, but you never know your luck. Depends how it came out from the factory or if it's been replaced. I'll probably find it mightn't be a bad idea to be rebushing or putting some new bearings on maybe the lay and main shaft or so forth, and check out the clutch as we go. So yeah, exciting times, and I'm glad I'm starting on it. So hopefully as I do it, people might be able to draw from it or be able to give me some advice and information that might help me out, which is another big reason why I'm doing this. Thanks for your time, everybody, for having a look, and I hope you enjoy the restoration. It will take a while, as I said before, but hopefully it will eventually be done. So, great stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye.